find something out here. Something only you might understand.
Oh my God. How did they get the lights on?
Hey guys, welcome back to Film Feud. I'm your host, Angel Ramirez.
Marcus Nartatez.
And we're here to review Roland Emmerich's latest film, Independence Day.
Woohoo!
Resurgence.
America.
Yep, land of the free, home of the terrible sequels. As you're going to see in this review, we have very different views on how we thought this movie played out. But as I said before, we're positive guys, so we're going to go into our positives first in the movie. So, Marcus, considering you have more than I do, what are some of the positives you liked about this movie?
Okay, let me go back. I'm not going to say it was a good movie by itself, but there were some positives. It's a independence sequel. It did what it needed to do. There was action. There was action. The action was really good. I saw it in 3D first. I was in California. I got to see it in a 3D XD theater, which was probably one of the better 3D movies I've seen in a while. And I'm not too big of a 3D fan. I actually usually try to, but see the 2D version. But we got our times mixed up, and we had to go to a later show. But I actually thought it was really good. I usually get headaches, and I thought this one would give me a headache. But it was very visually pleasing. Action sequences were as expected. Good action speakers. If you like the first one, it was just on a bigger scale. Everything with this movie was on a bigger scale. So action, and just the way it looked. Those were the good things. Now, were those the only good things? Probably. There wasn't that much more. I did like some of the actors. Maybe we'll go into a little bit more. But I always like Jeff Goldblum. He is who he is. You never really see him go outside of his comfort zone. So he was right there, and I always enjoyed that. There was a couple other ones we'll talk about. You liked Bill Pullman.
Yeah, Bill Pullman to me was my favorite performance, just because I felt like he was the one taking it the most seriously.
Greatest
Jeff
speech.
Goldblum was Jeff Goldblum. There wasn't, it's the same. I don't know. We have to get the virus. I don't know. But when it comes to you said it was visually pleasing. To me, I felt like it was a lot of visual noise. Like there's in an action sequence, you're supposed to like know where you are and stuff, and I just felt like it just tried to, especially at the end, it just tried to one-up itself. But we're in the positives right now, so I will say Bill Pullman was great.
Negative Nancy.
Jeff Goldblum was great. I thought some of the concepts that they had were interesting, like having a base on the moon, super cool. That whole sequence up there, I thought that was good. And the stuff with the artificial intelligence from another planet was interesting, but I just don't think it was executed as well as it should have been. So that being said, let's just go into my favorite segment, the negatives. What did you not like about this movie?
The storyline was based, it didn't. You kind of mentioned it too. It was very much like the first one, and then what they tried to do more was forced. So it really wasn't, it really wasn't that great, the storyline. It was either you saw it before or why the hell are we doing this kind of thing. Also, the negatives, one of the biggest negatives, I thought almost all the young actors, like the young fighter pilots, and I thought they were just bad. I don't know if it was them, because I haven't really seen a lot of them in movies before, but I didn't like the way, either their mannerisms, the way they talked, what they said. It was just every time they were flying a space shuttle, and one of them yelled. There was a lot of yelling. It just took me out of it for some reason. I didn't like any of them. And I guess Liam Hemsworth was probably the only seasoned actor, and he was okay, but he wasn't even that good.
Yeah, it's so hard when you're trying to refill a void that is left by Will Smith in '96 at the height of his powers.
Yeah,
where like you're never gonna find someone that charming that can carry a campy movie like the original Independence Day and make it as fun as it was.
Yeah, and Goldblum kind of did Goldblum did a good job, but he didn't have that bounce back of Will Smith's character. So it was a lot of his jokes and or dry humor was lost because there was no he had no real chemistry with another character, and I think that's when Jeff does his best work.
Yeah, I feel like just story-wise, the negative for me was they tried. It's the same issue I had with World of Warcraft, where they have these three people that look way too young for what they're being cast in, and they're supposed to have this backstory where like Liam Hemsworth's character almost killed Jesse Usher, Will Smith's son, and sometime previously, and it just you don't feel like there's that history in between them because they don't have that camaraderie or that chemistry even that would evoke that kind of thing. So I don't know. One of the only other positives, since we were talking about the young cast that wasn't great, Travis Tope, who played Liam Hemsworth's friend, for me, I thought he was very good. There were a couple scenes that he was in that he really sold me in. Even when Liam Hemsworth was being flat and he carried it through. So I thought
he had some of the worst scenes.
I don't know why
some of
you
the
were
things
watching.
he said. Like there was one scene where they're flying out of the space shuttle and he says, "Are you with me?" But just I don't know why. Just the way he said it was just so I don't know. I don't know if I just didn't like. I had a grudge against him that I don't know about, but I didn't like him. He was my least favorite character, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how he's kind of on the spectrum where you could fall either way. For me, he just went a little more positively. So, I did also like William Fichtner as the new president after everyone dies. But other than that, negative wise,
she was in it only a few scenes, so it's not really. She was like a
William.
I'm sorry.
President.
Yeah, he became president.
Yeah,
he was good. He was one of the carryovers right from the last film.
Yeah.
There's a few of them. Who was the lady president? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
She was. Hold on, let me look.
Celia
Ward.
Celia Ward. She was all right.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. That it was just way too much because you're supposed to know. Like the president dies and they go over it in like 2 seconds. Then there's one scene where Jesse Usher's character comes from the moon base straight to just watch his mom die, and it's really just to be like, hey, Vivica A. Fox was in this movie. She was in the first one. That was great. Remember?
They killed a lot of people from the old movie.
Yeah, no.
Will Smith's character is presumably dead. They don't go into the reason why he died.
No, they said it was a test pilot crash.
I didn't see that. I saw the movie twice and I missed it out.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We're like, how are you gonna build this mythology around it when Will Smith was the one that saved the world and then he dies in a test crash? I don't know. It just it was sloppy, just trying to get to where they were trying to get to. So
no, I mean I agree. It wasn't a good movie. I went in I think with lower expectations than you did. I go into these kind of movies as Starship Trooper. Say it for me.
Starship Trooper.
That's the one. Can't say it today. I go in with that kind of expectation of these kind of movies for whatever reason. Nothing really. I'm going to go tell someone to see, but I enjoyed it at its core just for what it was, an action movie about aliens. Yeah.
So I mean. As you can see, we both kind of have more negatives than our positives, but just overall thoughts for me, I was expecting a fun 2-hour popcorn movie that I could just go and kill some time with, but it went from having fun and wasting time to sitting there looking at my phone like, oh, when is this movie going to be over? So for me, my score, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5.
Wow!
Wow! Really did not. You
thought it was worse than Warcraft? All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would rather watch Warcraft again than this.
Okay. Wow. The score. See, I went with it. I went into the movie, and I took my little nephew, my girlfriend's nephew, and he's never seen the original one, and he thought it was great. So I guess maybe I saw it through his eyes. He was really excited about it. So I I walked away kind of enjoying it just for what it was. Again, was it a good movie? Is it a movie I'm going to tell you have to go out and see? No. I can't remember what I gave Warcraft, but I'm going to say this is a out of 5, 2.5, 2.7, maybe.
You got it fresh? Oh man,
not fresh. I don't do the actual Rotten Tomatoes, but
yeah.
I think a good movie for me at least is a 3 and above. 2.5 is if you stumble, if your date says I want to see that, you won't be totally bored. You could say yes and act excited.
Yeah, it's a cable movie. If you watch it on cable,
it's not a
one.
Okay. It's not a 1 out of 5, I don't think, but we'll disagree on that one.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our Film Feud segment. This week we're gonna talk about, with all the week openings so far this summer, is there sequel fatigue? So I don't know what your stance is on it, but what do you think?
Sequel fatigue. I think I have sequel fatigue before this movie. I'm just not excited about a lot of the movies. I didn't go see. We haven't seen Now You See Me 2, which I like the first one. I just I mean you guys have seen sequels. They're more often disappointments. So I'm going to say that I have sequel fatigue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's so much sequel fatigue as there is bad sequel fatigue. I think that if you put out crap, then if the last time you went to the movies and the last movie you saw was Independence Day Resurgence, you're not going to be excited the next time you go to a movie. So I think if you go see bad sequels and that's all you've seen lately, then it's going to cut into how excited you are to go to another movie. You know what I mean? So I think there's not sequel fatigue, there's bad movie fatigue. And I think audiences are starting to get smarter and they can see there's learning what a good movie makes. You know what I mean? Like if you get used to Civil War and all these Marvel sequels that are great, you're not going to want to go and see Now You See Me Too. You're not going to be rushing out the door for that. So yeah. I think it's more in the quality of the sequels than the sequels themselves.
All right, yeah, I'm not excited. You're nice.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's a short one. It's not a movie to go too much in depth about.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just end it there.
Yeah. You guys can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Film Feud Guys. You can follow Marcus at
Marcus F. Nartatez.
And you can follow me at The Great Rambino on Twitter. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And in case we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Thank you.